The thief doesn't care to know what he is going to steal. Good day, viewers. In this episode, we are reverting to the tabloids. We've done enough of science in the Quran. Today we'll go to science in the tabloids. Hopefully we will stay there for some time, as long as we stayed, at least as long as we stayed with the Quran. And we're going to the newspaper called PMP of February 3 to 5, 2003. Price 1,000 cedis. This is it. It has some nice stories. I'll call them juicy. Juicy being my word. I remember the stories I read a long time ago, and about women eating their boyfriends after having sex with them. Let's see. Let's see. Bizarre praying mantis tribe where women devour their men after they mate. Let's go. Then pastor demands human head. Accused tells court. Trader marries 2 men. Then pastor elopes with married woman. This is a problem. Student imprisoned for defiling and impregnating people. My lover is a bedwetter, and rich man tells neighbors. In my opinion, this man has no shame. If your lover is a bedwetter, do you have to come public with it? Especially if you want to marry her. Even if you are not going to marry her, I don't think it's a good thing to do. That was page 2. What I read to you were on pages 2 and 3. Now we're going to pages 4. Having fun in your marriage, skipping meals, coping with life, what men hate. Okay. I remember this story. What men hate. I've come to him by Rose Hansi. Okay, I've come to the continuation of it. I remember promising you to give it to you when I have it, and that's it. Unfortunately, I again removed part of the paper. Then we go to Auntie Hadiza. Is my girl out of sync? Then Auntie has special. Then what do we have? The entrepreneur, relationships. Auntie Hadiza with Auntie Hadiza. Then we have here Divine Intervention Part 1 by NSMO Campus Life. Hopefully we won't finish this paper in one episode. I don't think we can. So, okay, let's go straight to our first story. Pastor demands human head. It might not be the first story, I'm sorry, because it's on page 3. So we'll go to page 2 first. Bizarre praying mantis tribe where women devour their men after they mate. We'll go to that first. The allure of sex The allure of sex leads men to mate with women of the Japas tribe who live in the remote area of the upper Amazon. The woman here the woman here has killed her husband and made a stew of his remains. You look at the face, innocent looking, isn't she? You look at the face, very innocent looking. Uh, the anthropology, the anthropology world has been rocked with the discovery of a previously unknown Amazon tribe that engages in bizarre mating rituals. The ritual dash. The women devour their men after sexual activity. So men, be very careful when it comes to women. It may not be it may not be that you'll be eaten, but something else. Okay, second paragraph. The Japas tribe has been dubbed the praying mantis tribe by Western scientists who first stumbled on the Indians and their sexual dance of death in a remote jungle area known as the Valley de Javari, wedged between two Amazon River tributaries, the Jutal and Jandiatuba rivers. The Jutai and Jandiatuba rivers in Brazil. The area is home to about 6 tribes who have had little exposure to modern society, says Dr. Tyler Loomis of the Sao Paulo Center for Indigenous Studies. Then, quote, as such, we were conducting exploratory missions, attempting to make contact with them, when one member of our expedition, Dr. Michael Madigan, was mysteriously kidnapped from his tent on the 10th night of our expedition. Native trackers assisted the team in looking for Dr. Madigan, and after a 3-day search, stumbled on the Japas settlement and a sickening discovery. The sight of the remains of their roasted colleague being eaten by his new wife. Well, you heard it right. Let me repeat that. And they stumbled the sight of the remains of their roasted colleague being eaten by his new wife. She was chewing on what remained of a forearm, I believe, says Dr. Loomis. His severed head was on the ground next to her. This is a true story. She grinned at us. Dr. Mitgan's blood running down her chin. Awa, haba. She grinned at us. Dr. Mitgan's blood running down her chin. We were speechless. Yes. Dr. Mitgan couldn't control his sexual urge. But let's read on. If I remember well, they say they have a way of, luring the men. As a man, it's very weak for a woman to get you aroused. Let's read on. We were speechless. Next paragraph. The anthropologists and their guides were immediately surrounded by a menacing all-female group of Japas Indians, brandishing spears. Pardon me. Brandishing spears, but who were eventually placated with gifts of aluminium cookware, colorful aprons, and beads. Through a combination of through a combination of sign language and mutually intelligible Pidgin Portuguese, the two groups began to communicate, and the tribe's sick, strange mating habits were unveiled. We'd heard legends of a fierce female tribe of literal Amazons who killed their men after mating with them, as black widow spiders and praying mantis insects do. Let me take that again. We've heard legends of a fierce female tribe of literal Amazons who kill their men after mating with them, as black widow spiders and praying mantis insects do, says Dr. Loomis. We never placed any credence in it. We had never placed any credence in it, thinking it was a horrific hoax spread by early Portuguese and Spanish explorers. It's sad. It turns out to be real, very real, as we witness ourselves and as the late Dr. Lumis' group of 6 males spent a total of 17 days at the Japan settlement and avoided joining their dead colleague only with repeated gifts and by ingratiating themselves as slaves for the Japanese women, hunting for them, gathering, hunting for the women, gathering firewood and drinking water, and by massaging their large, calloused, human blood caked feet on demand. Huh? Let me take that again. Hunting for them, gathering firewood and drinking water, and by massaging their large, callous, human blood caked feet on demand, often for 6 straight hours. Paragraph. During that time, until we were able to escape, we witnessed 4 complete marriage ceremonies where the groom was also the wedding feast. Where the groom was also the wedding feast. They sleep with him and then they finish and make a feast out of him. Says Dr. Loomis, the women get their husbands by abducting them from rival tribes, as well as using the adolescent male children born to their fellow tribeswomen. The tribeswomen, the Japanese women are feared by even the most savage males of neighboring tribes, including the head-hunting Jivaru. Full stop. Paragraph. However, sex is a powerful attraction. Yes. However, sex is a powerful attraction, even with the risk of death. And Dr. Lemay says the Japanese women, despite physical appearances that would repel most outsiders, are versed in exotic sexual acts that dissolve the inhibitions of even the most fearful and reluctant sperm donor. So they have a way of luring the men. I remember this story very, very well. I can't forget it. Mm. Fearful and reluctant sperm donor. But after the ecstasy comes the agony of a quickly snapped neck and being. But after the ecstasy comes the agony of a quickly snapped neck, and being served up as the main course for the communal tribal wedding dinner. Any woman who is late for the feast gets the cold shoulder, says Dr. Lumes. But on the positive side, I guess you could say none of the Japanese women have ever met a man they didn't like. In other words, they don't discriminate. Any man at all, they don't care. They lure you, you sleep with them, and then they finish you, and then you get finished in their pots of soup. Or they make barbecue out of you. Okay, that's the end of the story. Okay, let me quickly add this one. Guy blows fuse over light bill. Pennywise dash Andrew Scott whipped out a gun and blew his roommate away because the guy ran up their electric bill, says cops. Scott, 38, allegedly pumped 5 slugs into expal brown variant brown 34 after the power gas gasoline lamps Brown was using to grow marijuana in their basement brought them a bill of $1,000. They started arguing how to divide up the bill, and things escalated, a homicide detective in Oakland, California said. Okay. Now, another nice story. For instance, woman who hadn't missed a day of work for 36 years, is fired for coming in late. Woman who hadn't missed a day of work for 36 years is fired for coming in late. And I suppose that's the picture there with my finger showing. That's the picture there about my finger, about my forefinger. Okay, let's read it. Hapless Harriet Nethes was fired for arriving at her office job less than 3 minutes late, even though it was the first time she'd ever been tardy, and she hadn't missed a day of work in 36 years. I don't know how people can be so wicked. Okay. Sadly, the senior shipping clerk at Landerson Electronics in Sydney, Australia, was just 6 months from retirement. But thanks to the hard-headed actions of her boss, unlucky Nathans won't get a dime of the pension she'd been slaving to earn for more than 3 decades. It doesn't seem quite fair, says mild-mannered 55-year-old Nethers. I gave the best years of my life to the firm, and now they give me the old heave ho. I've really been counting on that pension. I suppose my golden years won't be quite as comfortable as I might have hoped. Very sad. A beautiful woman for that matter. I suppose the golden years won't be quite as comfortable as I have hoped, yes. Paragraph. Co-workers at Landison were well liked. Sorry, co-workers at Landison, where well-liked Netters was revered as an institution and 42 times named Employee of the Month, also feel that she got the shaft. It's outrageous, said the colleague who spoke on condition of anonymity. You can see the boss is actually a bully. They have to hide from him or her. Hmm. Harriet was the hardest, Harriet was the hardest working, most loyal employee in the place, except for this one time. She was always at her desk at least 15 minutes early. Oh. But Gary Landison the third, whose grandfather hired Netters when she was a bright-eyed kid of 19 back in 1966, insists that he was simply following a rule laid out in the employee manual. No, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I think they did it deliberately. They didn't want to pay her pension money. Oh, human beings. Okay. Paragraph. I've made my feelings about punctuality very clear, said Lenison, 28. Look, said Lenison, only 28, who often brandishes a coach's stopwatch in the office and on the factory floor. And our 2001 manual says in plain English that every worker must arrive by 8:45 a.m. To give Mrs. Netters special treatment would be unfair to the 250 employees in the firm. This is defense. No one denies that Netters was a model worker. Full stop. Since joining the company as an errand girl, she served with almost fanatical devotion. She never once called in sick, never left early for a doctor's appointment, even showing up daily during a 2-month strike in 1972. Okay. The only reason she was late on May 25th in the morning was that she paused to help a blind 84-year-old neighbor take out her garbage. I just don't think about how much that would slow me down, she says. When I realized I was running late, I ran straight from the bus stop to the office. When I came through the door, huffing and puffing, there was Mr. Landerson holding up his stopwatch. He locked me as being 2 minutes and 48 seconds late, and he told me I was fired. The next thing I knew, a security man was escorting me out of the building. Steamed co-workers aren't shy about expressing their feelings towards their boss. Someone ought to take that stopwatch and ram it where the sun doesn't shine. Fumed one furious administrative assistant. Very sad. Very sad. Very sad. Ensuring discipline on our roads. This PMP comments. I think we can skip that. Pastor demands human head. Accused tells court. This is the story. But let me show you other stories on that page. So let's see if we can finish that. And that is page 3. At least that story. Then we can continue in another episode. A Sunyani district court was recently thrown into a state of utter disbelief when a man standing trial for possession of human head reportedly retweeted that a Tema-based pastor requested him to bring the head for a fee. Can you hear that? Surprisingly, however, Salifu Dagati, who has been charged for murder, could not name the said pastor, his church, and the two alleged lady accomplices who he said were with the pastor at the time the abominable request was made. He however stated that he could easily identify them should they be brought before him, and he said he could also locate the church which he claimed is situated in Tema Community 5. The Gati, who had earlier admitted the offense in his caution statement to the Tema police, related that sometime in December last year, he attended the funeral of a child at Atebubu in the Brong-Ahafo region. He claimed further that after she had been laid to rest, he followed up to the cemetery, dug up the grave, and cut off the head with the aim of selling it to the pastor for payment, but unfortunately he was apprehended. Dagati, it will be recalled, was arrested by the Tema Community 2 police after a resident of Community 5 had alerted the police. Full stop. According to the complainant, he found a black bulletin bag in front of their house and out of curiosity went further to take a closer look at it and realized that it contained a whitish substance he suspected to be juju. Paragraph. Early the next morning, Dagati approached the complainant's household to request for his missing polythene bag, which they had thrown into a gutter. The polythene bag that contained the human head. Suspecting foul play, they alerted the police, leading to his arrest. PMP reporter. Pastor elopes with married woman. Okay, let's go there. I think we can finish it. Is it worth reading? Okay. A 26-year-old fitting apprentice, Michael Sakum, who styles as a freelance evangelist in Dansoma area, has eloped with a married woman, Mrs. Monica Mensah, and her 3-year-old daughter, Ifa Mary. Sakum, who became very popular within that community over time and even established a fellowship, also managed to swindle some unsuspecting members, most of whom were women, through his alleged false prophecies. Presently, the police have mounted a vigorous search for them and have appealed to the general public to give any information on them to the nearest police station or call the PMP office on 021-226-942 and 021-230-356. Paragraph. An extract issued from the Dansoman police station stated that on December 13, 2002, the husband of the runaway woman, Mr. Isaac Dawson Mensah, reported that on October 4, 2002, he returned home from work to find that his wife had left home. with their last child without informing anyone. He added that he had been to his in-laws in Aburi in the eastern region and some of her friends and relatives, but all these people said they had not seen her. Upon, upon his own enquiries, he found out that she was last seen with Pastor Sakom, in whose church she worshipped. Full stop. He then said he needed the support of the police in an full stop. In an interview, Mensah, who lives in Osofo Dazi, Dansoma area, told PMP that he has been married to Monica for about 16 years and they have 5 children. Mensah said Mensah said that initially he and his family worshipped with the International Central Gospel Church, IC into brackets ICGC, but suddenly his wife decided to join the Gbegbesi Pentecostal Church. The distressed man, a second-hand goods dealer, said it was there that his wife, Monica 36, came into contact with Sakum, who was also a member of the church. Soon afterwards, she stopped attending that church and started attending Sakumo's fellowship. And though he advised her to stop worshiping in that fellowship, she paid no attention to him at all. Yes, I remember this story quite well. Paragraph. He said that after some time, he received very unpleasant reports about the wife and Pastor Sokum. Full stop. Having realized that the pastor was not genuine, he told his wife that the prophecies he'd been giving them were false, but his wife would not listen to him. The issue generated petty squabbles between them, and on October 4, 2002, he returned home to find her gone. To find her gone. Paragraph. Mensah hinted that he immediately dashed to Sakumo's house, where his mother, in tears, told him that Sakumo came home that day, packed all his belongings and left, saying that he had been offered accommodation by his church, the Church of Pentecost. By his church, the Church of Pentecost. However, he did not disclose where that house was. Full stop. She alleged, that's the mother of Sakum. She alleged that her son was in a fitting apprenticeship, but got up one day and said he had become a pastor. This is a caring mother, a trustworthy mother, or a truthful mother. She alleged that her son was a fitting apprentice, but got up one day and said he had become a pastor and stopped going to his work site. At the Gbegbesi Pentecostal Church, Mensah said he was told blankly that Sakum was long sacked from the church because his behavior contravened their laws. They revealed that they had not offered him any accommodation. Full stop. Liars don't care. Okay. Other residents who have been victims of the canon behavior described him as a trickster who should be arrested and prosecuted. Full stop. Paragraph. Mensah sadly said it's about 3 months now, and there's not been any sign of or word from his wife. He is now saddled with the sole responsibility of catering for the other children, aged between 15, age between 15, 12, 10, and 5 years, respectively. I don't know why this between comes in. So let me correct it. Age 15, 12, 10, and 5 years, respectively. Okay, viewers, I think we should stop here. And so we are on page 3. And when we come back, hopefully, we'll do the rest of the stories on the page, on that page. It appears here too, most of the stories are worth reading. So let's end here. Thank you very much, viewers. Ila lekai. Bye bye till we meet again.